Today I'm going to be walking us through the steps to conduct frequencies and descriptive statistics using Excel. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to add in the analysis tool pack so that you have this data analysis option under data. And the way to do that is if you're using a Mac, you can see the add-ins feature here under Insert. If you're using a PC, it'll be under File, but you'll want to select Add-in, and then there you will see the option to add in the analysis tool pack. Now once you've added that in, basically here I'm going to be following something similar to what was outlined in the Week 11 module. This is the sample data set that's contained within the Week 11 module. And we're going to start by computing the frequencies, both the counts and percentages for age. Now, the way to do that in Excel is to first specify the categories of age. So here what we want to do, and this is generally what you see in a lot of research, is that age is generally classified as persons under the age of 21, and then persons in the range between 21 and 25, and then 26 to 30, and then 31 to 35. And I know from this data set and creating it that there are no persons above the age of 35 in this sample. Okay, so what these are called in Excel are bins. And basically, the way Excel treats bins is that when you specify a bin, you're essentially specifying the upper limit. So basically, for this 21, if we just did a frequency for this bin, it would count all the persons age 21 and under. Now, we put these bins on top of each other like this because it basically reads from the previous bin how many people are above this age and equal to or below the next age. So basically, putting a 25 here means that it's going to produce a count of all persons aged 22 to 25. And then we put the upper limit of 30, and it's going to read the preceding cell of 25 and do a count of all persons between the ages of 26 and 30 and 31 to 35. Now, to ask Excel to do these counts, what we do is we move over to the right one cell and then select all the cells in the column to the right of it by holding down Shift and then using either your pointer or the directional arrows. And when you're doing frequencies, you always want to go one cell below the last bin. That's why I clicked and dragged or selected one cell below the final bin. And what that basically does is it counts all persons above that final bin. Now here, we don't necessarily have to do that to get a count because we know there aren't any persons over the age of 35. However, if you do not select that bin after that cell after the last bin, it won't run the formula. I'm not sure why, but it won't. So you can release Shift, and then in Excel, anytime you want to compute a formula, you always begin with an equal sign. And here we're going to ask Excel to compute the frequencies, and then we're going to specify first the actual data that we're interested in. So that data is found in column C. It begins at C4 and ends at C33. So we'll want to put in C4 to C33. And in Excel, you use a colon to specify a range. So here we want all cells between the range of C4 to C33. Next, we're going to put our bin range. And our bins that we just created range from C36 to C39. Close the parenthesis, and now, because we want to keep all these cells right here highlighted and run this frequency to produce our output, we have to press simultaneously Control, Shift, and Enter. And here we'll see our counts. So in the data set, there are 5 individuals aged 21 and under, 7 between the ages of 22 and 25, etc. Now these are the counts. We can give it a little label here called counts. Now to get the percentages, basically all we have to do is write a formula for percentages. So we're going to begin by hitting the equal sign, and then we want D36. We're going to put this in parentheses. D36, that's the count of all persons aged 21 and under, divided by the total number of persons in the data set. In this case, it's 30. And then to get an actual percentage instead of a decimal, we're going to multiply this by 100. And here we can see that those 5 people account for 16.67% of all persons in the sample. Now we want to calculate the percentages for each one of these bin categories. And the way to do that is to select the cell that houses the equation. And then do you notice how the cursor right now is a white plus sign? When you move it over to the bottom right corner of that cell, it turns black. And basically, what that enables you to do is click, drag, and then repeat the function of that cell. So here we see that basically it's called like a magic key. It did the exact same equation, but it did it for the next row down. So it did D37, which is the total number of persons aged 22 to 25, and then the exact same calculation as the preceding cell. So here we can see that those 7 people accounted for 23.33% of the data set. Now, if you want these percentages to be rounded to the nearest decimal, you want to go to Format Cells, Number, and check 2 decimal places and hit OK. And that's about it for frequencies in terms of calculating them. Essentially, frequencies are just counts and percentages. Now, I'm also going to quickly show you how to do a graphical representation of the frequencies. And we're going to use a histogram in order to do this. So what we want to do is go to Data Analysis, scroll down to Histogram, and then essentially put in the exact same numbers that we just did by hand. So the input range, or the data we want to use, range from C4 to C33. The bin range ranges from C36 to C39. And here it basically is going to ask us, where do we want to put our results? We can either put them within this data sheet, or we can put them in a new worksheet. Like for Dataset Codebook, it basically just create a third worksheet here. It's okay to put them in this worksheet, and we can put them here at G36. And lastly, you want to make sure that this chart output is selected. So we hit OK. And here it gives us a nice histogram of the frequencies. So here it gives it its bin values. You can edit these if you want by double clicking on the histogram. It gives you all different kinds of options and how you can clean this diagram up a bit if you want. Maybe you want to specify here and actually change this label from 21 to, persons aged 18 to 21. But yeah, you can make any edits you want to the actual graph. And then here it also outputs essentially what we did here with the counts and percentages, although it doesn't give you the percentages, just the counts. So that pretty much sums up everything that we need to know about frequencies, how to conduct them, how to compute the percentages, and then also how to put them in a visual graphical display through a histogram.